Hi everyone. So my name is Kushaan. I am an Omega Theta alumnus, AKSI from the University of Maryland, and I'm here to talk to you about a really fun topic, hacking your next job search. So if you are a student right now, recently graduated at any point in at any point in your career, you're going to have to go do a job search, and some of you might have to do many in your first few year. And I want to kind of like start off with just the elephant in the room. Job searches suck. It doesn't matter how well you know yourself. It doesn't matter how qualified you are. There's just so much friction that happens when you're kind of taking hundreds and hundreds of recruiters, hundreds and hundreds of candidates, and trying to find the diamond in the rough, trying to find that perfect job. And job searches have many challenges. You have recruiters and companies that never get back to you, companies with positions that have been filled or have expired, but they're still on the internet. So it seems like you're really getting excited for something that is still hiring. And then also positions that make you question whether you're qualified. Those kind of we want people 2 years out of college with 6 years of experience roles that are really, really hard to make you understand what exactly your kind of position is. But really, all it takes sometimes is getting that first interview. So not even so much getting the resume and getting the application in, but just being able to talk to someone and kind of make your case for why you should be getting a certain job. But you're probably thinking, that seems much easier said than done. How does one move past the challenges? And so what I'm going to share with you today is kind of a few mini frameworks you can use to think about how to move past those challenges and really help you get past that hump and get to that first interview. So the good news, as I mentioned, these challenges can all be addressed with kind of some extra communication. And it really all depends on finding people exactly where they are. And what this means is you want to find people where they're actively looking for candidates and have a high probability of getting notified. You notice from the challenges when people never get back to you, when positions expire, when there's kind of just a lot of ambiguity around positions. All of that is a matter of just lost communication, and this is kind of the new framework you can use to think about the best way to get in front of people for jobs in your job search. So how do we do this? Let's find out. The whole point of this the whole point of this talk. Um, but before we get to the tips, kind of a couple quick caveats. So one thing that I really, really want to stress, and it will make it a lot easier as you go through kind of putting some of these tips in action. Specificity is key. We'll work on this a little bit after the presentation, but just knowing the exact title of the role you want saves everyone time. So don't put the burden on others to find your fit. I've had a lot of people that have reached out to me. I've reached out to a lot of people and, kind of sent them a um, miscellaneous, hey, here's my resume. Can you help me find a job at your company? Do you think there's a fit for me at your company? And the real answer to that question is always, I don't know. Your fit way better than I do. Your qualifications way better than I do. And if you can spin that around and say, hey, I'm a really qualified marketer, I'm a really qualified product designer, really qualified sales rep, and I noticed that this exact job hiring for a sales rep at your company fits my qualifications exactly. At that point, it'll be a lot harder for someone to be able to question that, right? Question your qualifications there. And the other caveat is really just prune your funnel. This also is really, really hard, especially when you're starting out your job search, getting very easily excited by companies. When you're, 2, 3 months into the job search and you're really kind of getting to that desperation phase where, you're trying to throw darts at everything. Just finding companies you have little interest in will really put more on your plate, really make it harder to land the actual job. So make sure it's something that you would want at the end of the day and you would be happy with for kind of at least a few months. Now, on to the tips. I don't know if I'm dating myself, but this is a reference from Friends. So We're actually going to go over the following channels for your job search. So I don't know if initially you're expecting resume tips, cover letter tips, whatever it was, but this is actually going to be tips from channels that you likely use every single day when it comes to just daily communication with people. And we'll go over these each one by one. So tip number one is Twitter. So I don't know how many of you here have a Twitter account, how many of you have one actively. If you don't have a Twitter account, I would solely encourage you to get one, even if it's just for kind of this tip alone. But basically, Twitter, people use Twitter for a lot of different things. But if you think about Twitter at its core, Twitter is a giant search engine for thoughts. It is really just a way to prune through millions and millions of people's open thoughts, open things they want to share with the world. And really, just like any search engine, just like searching on Google, if you find the right set of keywords, you can find exactly what you're looking for in that search engine. And if you think about Twitter the same way, you ideally want to find the right group of keywords that would match a tweet while filtering through all of these, 500 million tweets that are sent a day through the platform. So when you're thinking about hiring, think about what someone if you were hiring for a job, think about something you'd post and think about keywords like hiring, looking for, the name of the role, the word DM, which stands for direct message, but it's something a lot of people will put on Twitter when they're looking for roles. They want people to reach out to them. And here's kind of an example of this in action. If you're hiring a product manager, you can immediately see that, instead of going on Greenhouse, instead of going on the website for Farmstead, you're actually just finding someone's Twitter, finding someone just like me and you who is looking for a product manager and is actively actively promoting this role. And you can see this was a GIF I took over the summer, but you can see it was a recent posting. You know that they're still hiring for it. And it's someone it's a real human being. It's someone you can likely reach out to. This is also another example. We're hiring a product designer at this company. You'll be working with me and DM me if you want to find out more. That is kind of like the golden key. If you think about the two tips that I chatted about earlier, where we're talking about, um, you know, uh, getting people when they're expecting to be notified and when they're expecting you to reach out to them. This is kind of a perfect example of that. He's basically on a silver platter telling you that it's okay to reach out to him if you want to find out more about the role. And now all of a sudden you're leapfrogging over hundreds and hundreds of people who are just applying through this role online or applying to this role on Monster. Uh, so another key to the job search is also something you use every day. So if some of you don't use Twitter, I'm guessing a lot more of you probably use Facebook. And the key is directly related to Facebook. It's a tool you use every day called Facebook groups. And this approach doesn't feel super novel, but it is very useful. So a rule in a Facebook group, searching in a Facebook group is as it is on any other social media. Once again, it's a real human being actively looking, expecting to get notifications. And while groups can be distinguished by function, some of the best generalist communities include things like Hire Club, Albert's List, where it's 30,000 people. They have career coaching. They have different people who are on the job hunt. And a lot of people who are recruiting will post there because they know that the primary audience of that group is people looking for jobs. And so in order to kind of filter through the hundreds of job postings that happen a week, it is helpful to once again lean on that specificity, lean on that title role. And I'll show you how it works for Facebook as well. So if you're searching a product designer role, Coffee Meets Bagel is hiring for an amazing product designer, strong in mobile visual design. Message me if interested. Once again, you get something similar to what we just saw on Twitter. It's someone who is actively looking, expecting to get notified, and expecting you to message them if you're interested in the role. And you can see on the left here, it's a very simple search. You can filter it by most recent, so you can see people that posted more recently non-expired job postings related to something you want. And again, this is where specificity helps to make sure you know exactly what you're putting in the search. Tip number 3 is another tool that I think there might be less people here who use it actively. Some of you who may already be working may be familiar with this. Some of you may actually use it for your chapters. I've heard that's kind of a newer thing that's happening. But tip number 3 is a product called Slack. So Slack is a communication app. It's kind of just a real-time chat, similar to WhatsApp, similar to a GroupMe, and it's separated into these really neatly organized categories called channels. So while I was interviewing for product management roles last year, for growth this past year, I can't count how many first glances I got for like moonshot opportunities through Slack, and I'm excited to kind of talk about how it works there. So the first step with Slack, Slack is a little bit, it's a little bit harder once the community grows. Obviously, any one-on-one chat tool, once you get to like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people, is you just hit an inflection point where it's hard to kind of get noticed. So really with Slack, same thing I encourage with Facebook groups is to really find the community that most resonates with the type of work that you'd want to do. So if you want to do product design, if you want to do marketing, if you want to do communications, engineering, accounting, whatever it is, just go on Google. Just type on Google things like Slack groups for designers, Slack groups for accountants, and it'll give you a lot of awesome resources. Find you groups where you can really connect with other practitioners. And many of these groups will have a jobs channel. Messaging and notifying a person is friction-free on Slack. It's largely free to use. Some of them do have kind of paid memberships for lifetime access to their tools, but you know, there's no kind of wall at that point between you and another person who is looking for the job. And this is kind of an anecdote that I'll share specifically for Slack, but I've had experiences actually on both sides for this tool. A random message from Slack allowed me to connect someone at my last company to our VP of product. And I found out weeks later she was hired. And this was kind of just something that was made possible through a product management group on Slack. So it's really, really cool for job searching, but also really helpful for hiring. And like everything else, I have a couple examples to show. Don't want to leave any of you in the dust. So if you look on the left, this is a PM specific job Slack group, and you can see there's a channel called PM Jobs. A lot of people who are posting about their jobs and posting to get in touch. And you can, you know, click on Harriet May's profile and message her directly via Slack. She'll get a notification and she'll see it when she logs onto Slack. And then same with this other group. This one is more specific to marketing. It's called Online Geniuses, but really, really strong hiring channel. It's up to, you know, 3,000 or so people. This was also taken a while ago, so I'm guessing now it's probably at the point where maybe it's close to 25. But you can see that it's people who are saying, once again, DM me with your work, would love to catch up, DM me with interest. And those are kind of like the words that you love to hear when you're in the job search is, please reach out to me. I am expecting to get notified. And you know, you can break through kind of this wall of all these barriers that exist right now between you and getting that first interview. In tip number 4, so I'm sure by this point, some of you are like, okay, I didn't know much about Twitter or Facebook groups or Slack. Please don't tell me tip number 4 is LinkedIn. That is like the most cliche tip for the job search. But LinkedIn, my tip here is also a little bit different. So it's a platform you use likely every day. If you don't have a LinkedIn for your job search right now, I would highly encourage getting one. It's something that in most online application portals, you can even upload directly and kind of fill out the application that way. And so it's a really, really just easy way to support you in your job search. I can do an entirely separate presentation on just LinkedIn. But the trick I want to call out here is not to search LinkedIn by jobs. So I'm sure some of you will go onto the job side of LinkedIn. You can see recruiters posting job postings, but the trick is to search by content. And the reason for this is when you search by content, you're no longer pulling job postings, you're pulling people posting about their jobs. And that is a very, very important distinction, because when you pull by job postings, you're going to get something that's a little bit more of a traditional job posting with an apply button. It's going to go into the traditional recruiting funnel, and it's going to be basically the same as if you were applying on a monster.com or an Indeed. Whereas searching by content, you're essentially using the same framework that you use for Twitter that you use for Facebook groups. And the only difference is now you're applying it to LinkedIn. And so this person has a very, very kind of traditional job posts you might see on LinkedIn. You notice I searched up top hiring a product designer, and so we're able to get something here. You can make this a lot more specific: hiring product designer New York, hiring sales New York, and you can see here, get in touch if you're interested. So I can get in touch with this guy. Does work at Google, so there's a chance that I might not be able to get in touch with him, but yeah, he did say get in touch, which is more than you can say from just applying on Google's website. So how do we summarize kind of what we just chatted about? So I think a few things that you really want to think about. One is look for people over postings. I talk to a lot of people about their job search, and a lot of people say, hey, I've been applying every single day. I've been applying to 30, 40, 50 different job postings a week. And this is really helpful. Obviously, the job search is a game of numbers at some extent, but you really want to look for the people over the postings. You really want to invest, even like the 1 hour it takes for you to apply to jobs, maybe invest that hour in, pruning through a Slack group or pruning through a Facebook group. Be specific in your roles and desires and do your research. One big thing with job searches is that it really starts internally. You really want to understand yourself before you're just kind of like shooting a bunch of darts at a bunch of dartboards. And you really want to kind of understand what you really enjoy and really make a strong case for yourself in applying to some of these jobs. And then the last one is just be courageous. I think it makes it seem, even after this presentation, that all of this is easy. It's not easy to put yourself out there. You're not going to hear back from a lot of people. You might hear back from some people who will say, hey, you're not what we're looking for right now. And you just want to kind of like swallow that and keep going. There's a quote that I'll leave you with, which is that your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. And if you feel like you're worthy, you feel like you're ready for that job, don't let a no stop you. Just keep kind of like your head up and keep going. Keep talking to more people, and all it takes is that one person to say yes, you're worth it, and um, you're ready to go with your job search. So that's all I have for now. If you are either in the audience or watching this as a recording, please feel free to reach out to me on email. I'm also on Twitter a lot. So if you have any thoughts, if something worked for you, definitely let me know, and I would love to connect with you further.